It was a disaster.
Yes, Takaris, you're correct, unfortunately.
It's been like 3 hours.
Yes, it did. So, what happened exactly? I already have like one idea, and that was Game Show First Timer. I invited Duncan and Mighty Eagle first. Duncan was down, so Duncan parsed guy number 1. Mighty Eagle wasn't until he was. Until he wasn't because he forgot time zones existed. He did appear after it ended though. Then I invited the entire OSFirstTimer subreddit mod team, but only one of them could participate, so Siestro216 number 2. Then I decided to invite Victor Tran. It was going to work out, but it didn't work out one day before it happened. Then I made a Google form for people to apply for Game Show First Timer, a promotional application video, and a community post. So that's Dillo number 3, Cohen number 4, Sunji number 5, Yoloko Fierce number 6, Everything Windows number 7, Overgreen number 8, Takaris number 9, Baron Gavin number 10. In total, there were 11 people who applied, which is actually a lot less than I thought it would be. I originally wanted 12 for 4 teams of 3 people, because I thought Maio and Victor Trent were going to be there, but that is good as well. It was December 18th when I actually started working on the questions. Yes, 3 days before it happened. You can tell why there was a lot of problems during the actual game show. For one, I pretty much only wrote questions, nothing on the actual schedule or buzzer system. I initially wanted 7 rounds and 140 questions, and each round a team gets eliminated until there's one winner. I thought the questions were going to be quite quick, like 20 seconds per round, and in retrospect, that's ridiculous. You don't have to be speedrunning to do that. It was more like 1 minute per question, probably even longer. Okay, I just wanted to quickly say, I have a competitor now to PodcastFirstTimer. It's called OSFirstTalk, and it is made by Overgreen, the real one. It currently only has 1 episode. I want like lots of people to listen to this podcast, and there will be more episodes. So yeah, alright, back to the actual video. Okay, so this is the part where I pretty much highlight what the biggest issues is, and like a mini recap as well. Okay, but before I do that, I saw this. Like, are you dedicated enough to make accurate chapters for this super long video? Okay, I want someone to do this, okay? And if someone does it, then I will give them a shout out. Could everyone like type a dot into like the chat thing? As you can see and hear, this is the moment where I actually do the test the dot system. Yeah, I just made it up right here on the spot, and that's why it sucked. So that's my first mistake. The first question you saw in the real Game Show First-Timer final video. How many videos does OSFirstTimer have? That wasn't actually the original first question. This was. How many subscribers does OSFirstTimer have? Okay, Duncan, you are first.
Jeez, internet.
Is it 1.06 1.06 thousand?
And we also get to
Like
see
106,000
that I just forgot to do the the teams and stuff. I haven't even done the points. I haven't even done teams. Oh my god! There we go. Ignore the. We're speedrun this, okay? We're speedrun this, okay? He did not. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the 5th question. And as you heard 1, 2, 3, 4. That's because the whole control panel with all the questions and where I do stuff and stuff, it was very badly designed because there was the questions which just completely gigantic and stuff, and then all the way down and then you have the rounds and then the actual teams and the points. So I had to do this, search what the question was, and then just go all the way back down here, change the points, and then and then that got confusing. Alright, number 15. What's Phil's first channel? What was?
The answer with it anyway.
Yep, made this terrible mistake because, for one, this sucks. I went and just did this without realizing that I also copied the answer, and also I was very hot while doing that, so that like increased my made my brain foggy or something, and then I pasted the answer with it, and going on. I never like really found out during that.
Let's
just switch it to second channel.
Overgreen, what's your answer?
YouTube millionaire.
You are incorrect. I know I'm not supposed to like really reference the next chapter because you haven't seen that, but like his retrospective, he mentioned that he really didn't like my shenanigans and stuff, and understandable. And then the also infamous 18th question, the obscure fact, which was ridiculous and stuff. This one is also infamous because, well, I mean, no one got the point, and I didn't have a way to rate it to determine who's correct and stuff. So Overgreen didn't like that one, but Tech Harris actually liked that one. But what's the video after the last OSFirstTimer hiatus? And here comes the, again, infamous 20th question, which led to the Hour of Madness and the Victor Trans song thing and stuff. Sing along. And then, as Overgreen... Okay, I know it's like... yes, Overgreen's the only one that actually said anything, but yeah, he's the only one that really talked about these questions in specific. So he said that the question that made the game show fall apart, which is for obvious reasons. I'm gonna pretend Contestants is not first because he has too many points, and then I straight up just broke the rules or something, my own rules, and then bended the rules. Let's just say it was Baron Gavin. It's reversed. You know, honestly, just looking back, I'm not even sure how they even took this so seriously anymore. Yeah, and then it's reversed, which really caused it to happen. Victor Trans song. Then literally 1 hour later, I went like during the Hour of Madness, I was like depressed or something. No, I was in the OSFirstTimer mental institution, alright? I was there recovering from something. Yeah, and then it ended like around 2:40 and stuff. And this is just unrelated stuff, as this comment says, like Cohen does things. And that's pretty much the recap, alright? Let's... And also this whole like timestamp thing, I want someone to do this, okay? Go over to the next chapter then. Now, I'm going to talk about some specific contestants' reviews, which are Senji's, Overgreen's, Takaris's, Your Local Theorist's reviews. Senji talked about like the time zone issue where it's 2 AM for him, which is a problem I can't solve. Senji talked about ideas for game show second timer, and from now on I will keep track of them in a list. Next time we could organize it in a way more akin to the real game show Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, or something. Moving on to Overgreen, he talked about I should invite the contestants to the server sooner to have more time to get to know the contestants, and it would have made picking teams easier. Another thing that he talks about is that he was annoyed at the 16th question because it was unfair, and also at the 20th question because, you know, Strip broke the rules and stuff, which led to the Hour of Madness, and yeah, which, you know, pretty much saying like don't pull shenanigans, pretty much. I think he's trying to say here. The last thing that he talked about is that he didn't like the open-ended questions or individual questions, like the 18th question with the obscure fact, because, you know, like, how would you rate them fairly without, you know, having biases and stuff? Which completely contrasts Tech Harris's opinion, which is that he liked the open or individual questions because, you know, they're more creative and stuff. I'd say I agree with Overgreen more because, well, I mean, I'd rather not deal with the issue of, like, determining who's more correct, but Tech Harris has logical points as well. Overall, Overgreen said pretty valid points, and he was the only one that really talked about those questions in particular. Speaking of Tech Harris, his suggestions for the next one are: I would suggest for the questions to be more creative, as many of them were simply about the facts and figures of the OSFirstTimer channel. I'm specifically referring to types of questions in which everyone participates with an answer, and the contestant with the best answer is awarded within the contest. And as I said earlier, I don't really know how to rate them fairly. Another suggestion is a specialized web service for the buzzer system, which is a thing I would totally do for a game show second timer, but I don't really know how to program websites, so yeah, I'll learn web programming to do it. Another one is to have less questions. This one, like less expected questions. This one I would absolutely do without telling me. 140 questions is insanity. And the last thing is for everyone to record their own voice to counter the Discord compression. I already know about this one. I mean, I say it's fine. I mean, PodcastFirstTimer was like recorded using Discord, so no. You're go first.
Anyway, so in terms of some general feedback that I'd be able to give in case you ever do a future game show, I would say, first of all, I would maybe give a little bit more time before the game actually starts to make sure that there's no issues with like the players' microphones and stuff like that. Because I remember a couple of players had some issues where like Discord wasn't picking up their microphones, and even I had issues where my microphone was making a weird popping sound and I didn't know about that. So it might have been good to maybe give like a little bit more time beforehand just to kind of run through everybody's microphones and setups and make sure that everything works properly.
And me more time to check on everything, which is similar to the one Overgreen suggested. Another thing is to keep better track of the players.
I would say keep better track of the questions, answers, and scores. Because there was a few times where I think you would accidentally skip over questions even though they hadn't been answered yet. Like you would post a question in the chat and then someone would get it wrong, and instead of passing it on to the next player, you just skip the question entirely. And then also there was the one time where you accidentally pasted the answer to the question in the chat, so we all automatically knew what the correct answer was. And I also think that there was a time where you were a little bit confused on what the scores were and stuff like that. So what I would say I would do personally to fix that is, I don't know what your setup looked like, so I don't know how you were running the game show, so it's kind of hard for me to comment, but I would say just do a better job at neatly keeping track of every single question that's been asked, every question that's been successfully answered, and also write down everybody's scores properly. Oh yeah, and also write down the questions in a way to where you won't be able to accidentally paste the answer in the chat.
Players, scores, everything. Which is, yeah, I'll do that, obviously. Yeah, I'll design it better, okay? Another suggestion is that I should have had a co-host to manage it.
If you are going to do the game show again, I would say maybe next time have a co-host who can focus on keeping the players on track, while you can focus on keeping track of the scores and the questions and all of that. I mean, to be fair, that's probably what Mighty Eagle's role would have been if he had stayed in the voice call, but,
had a co-host to manage the players, but I don't think that would be necessary if I'm competent enough. I only talked about 4 contestants reviews because he said something that there's anything wrong. Everything Windows and Duncan did a whole audio recording, but I never used it, so I kind of feel bad now. Now I'll show the most important sentence in each one.
And overall, Game Show First Timer is a very incredible game show for me. At least that's occurred online. And shout out again to OSDailyTimer for making all of this happen and gathering all of us, several people who are avid watcher and avid subscriber of OSFirstTimer. Shout out to OSDailyTimer. Be sure to subscribe to him because I really want to get so many subscribers so bad.
I'd like to thank OSDailyTimer for organising the event, and also Diana and Phil for making all the videos on Game Show First Timer and Podcast First Timer.
Now, what do I think? My first self-hosted event. PodcastFirstTimer I only co-hosted because, let's be honest, my Eagle73 is the real host. Anyways, I think Tech Harris said the best.
It was a disaster.
Or maybe Everything Windows is
Wow, it's amazing.
in the most sarcastic manner ever. For one, I was terrible at managing the game show, keeping track of the scores, the questions and stuff, and I had a terrible attitude. I didn't prepare enough, and I probably ticked people off, even if they didn't audibly express it in the call. Now, a thing that pretty much no contestants mentioned was the application process. For one, I didn't have an actual date until after I made it, which made it more complicated. I should have had it an actual day and time from the get-go so that people wouldn't just find out they can't actually participate because they have work or school or whatever or something. I know some people would take this as, oh, I'm just not cut out for this, but I have learned my lessons and I will not make the same mistakes in Game Show Second Timer as I did in Game Show First Timer. I'd like to see like Victor Trent or Mighty Duo 73 actually participate in some form because they didn't in Game Show First Timer, so it would be cool if that happened. And that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of OS Daily Timer, and I'll see you guys next time.